That movie is
I
hilarious.
swear to God.
The Room. It's
The
like the
room,
funniest,
bro. And then, what's his name?
worst movie
Yeah.
ever, bro.
And what's his name did a great job too.
James Franco
James Franco. He did a great job. And
on the Disaster Artist.
yes,
Yes, that was a
that was
funny
great.
ass movie, bro.
I remember we went to the movies. Who was with us? I know Israel. Somebody was with us.
I don't remember, but I remember watching it and I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, this is hilarious!" But it gave good insight on that
On
actual
what
movie.
actual was happening.
If y'all don't know, there's this movie called
The
The
Room.
Room, and it's considered one of the best worst movies ever.
It's like a cult classic at this point.
Yes, like they still do showings of it every now and then. And you might ask, how do you have a best worst movie? It is very possible because
Yeah.
when you watch that movie, you are like, how did this get made?
And James Franco showed exactly how it was made, and it was
yeah,
just
and
great.
there's this, they did a movie about it a few years ago called The Disaster Artist. I believe that's what it's called.
Yeah, I think that was
With
it.
James Franco stars as the lead character, which is the guy who made the movie The Room. Oh, what's that guy's name again?
I don't remember his name.
Um anyways, that movie is like, it's an art form to make a good bad movie.
Yeah, it really
Because
is. Like,
there are bad movies where you watch it and you're just like, this is crap, like it's horrible, I wasted my time. And there are bad movies that you're just like, yo, this is
because
interesting.
I think with the ones that are bad, it's like it had because they had the potential to be good, you know. So it's like
That's his
this
name.
year. What is his name?
Tommy Wiseau.
Tommy Wiseau
He's the creator of this movie called The Room.
from the Bayou. What
What?
He kept saying he was from the Bayou, but he kept saying it in his freaking weird accent.
He was from the Bayou.
Yeah, you remember he kept saying that, like, well, in the Disaster Artist. They're like, where you
I don't
from?
remember
And he
that
said
part.
he's from the Bayou. He's like, but he was saying it in weird, like, weird
He,
Italian,
so
whatever
Tommy
the heck.
Wiseau, he sounds like
I don't know what
this,
it is.
like I think he's Polish
yeah.
or like Russian or something like that.
Bro.
And he has this very weird accent.
There you go.
where
That's
he
what it is.
talks like this. And like even in the movie, he doesn't lose his accent. He's like,
What is that?
I'm real American boy. I'm from America. And then in the movie, there was this one part where he was like, oh, how old are you? And he was like, oh, I'm the same age as you. But this dude is clearly like looks like he's 40 or
Yeah.
something like that. And the other character
He's young.
in the movie is young, probably in like his
20s,
early
yeah.
20s. But I think that was James Franco's brother. I forget James Franco's brother's name.
Oh, that was his brother that played
That played Greg.
That played Greg.
The guy who, so like the other character in The Room was this guy named Craig.
Yeah.
Who was like kind of the love interest to the woman in the
Yeah.
in
You
Okay,
can't even
listen.
explain it. That's how
You
crazy
gotta watch
it is.
this movie. I think everybody should go watch this movie called
Yeah,
The Room.
The Room.
You can look it up online and find out how to get this movie. It is hilarious. It is great.
Yeah, it is.
You will laugh. You will be baffled. You will be amused. It is literally one of the best worst movies ever.
Yeah.
And when I say it is an art form to have a best worst movie, because like I said, you can have a movie that is just bad that you're like, oh, this is shit. I wasted my money, this and that. But then there is a bad movie that is so intriguing that you're watching it and you're wondering, how in the hell was this done?
Yeah.
And you're like, this is hysterical. This is sad. This is amazing. Like all at once, because you're just wondering, how the fuck this shit even was done. And it's because you like there somebody was serious about this. So like this nigga put mad money behind,
Bro,
and
that's
and
the
I think that was one of the
crazy
things
part.
in the Disaster Artist where they were
Didn't
like,
know where he got this money from.
yeah, like the dude asked him like, oh, what do you do or something like that. I forgot his answer, but I know at one part he was talking to him and he was like, Greg, don't ask so many questions. He was like, don't talk about where I live. Don't talk about where I'm from. Don't talk about where I drive. He was just like pretty much
Bro, it's
telling
like, hey,
him like,
shut up.
hey man, like
I think he's
this
part of
nigga's
the
probably a
mob.
Polish thug around
Yeah.
these parts, because he was just like, he had a house in LA, like an
Facts.
apartment in LA that was like decked out and shit. And of course, I think Greg was from like Philly or something like that. Like
Yeah, he ain't had that
he was
money.
from some town in like the east side, and then they go to LA, and he's like, how are you, like, how do you have this car? How do you like, what do
He was
you
like,
do?
hey,
But
stop asking questions.
yeah, he never told him. And he acted like he was American, but clearly he was not American. He acted like he was young, but clearly he was not young. He acted like, it was just so weird. Like in the Disaster Artist, so what I think you should do is watch The Room
Yeah, watch The Room
first. You got to watch The Room.
Yeah, because the Disaster Artist is,
And
you
then,
appreciate it more.
Yes, and then after you watch The Room, go back and watch The Disaster Artist, because when it really just lumps it all together and you're just like, oh, okay. It was like that one part where they were like, the design of the alleyway looks exactly like the alleyway, like the alleyway that was right outside the studio. And he was like, why don't we just use the alleyway? And he was like, this is real Hollywood movie.
Bro,
I'm telling you, like that. And I know a lot of people, when that movie came out, a lot of people didn't really get it.
Yeah.
Because they were like, what is this? You know what I mean?
Yeah, so it took a little minute to catch on, but
right. But once the people who had seen The Room knew what was going on.
Yeah.
And I had seen The Room. Israel had seen The Room. You had seen it.
I think even when we was in that movie theater, certain people were just like, I think they just seen like James Franco, or it was just like, oh, what is this?
Yeah, I think
nah,
people
bro, you
did.
gotta see The Room.
I think people just didn't really understand what was going on.
Yeah, and I'm so proud that he did that. Like that
was a good movie, man.
Great.
I think we were introduced to it by
Tyler.
two of our best friends, Tyler and Nia. Shout out to them. We had a lot of good movie nights together.
Yeah.
But yeah, they introduced it to us. But I'm telling you guys, you will not regret it. It's a great bad movie.
And that's the thing, like I said, I think with movies that where I feel like a waste of your time is they had the potential to be great. Like I was watching we was actually watching Suicide Squad. It's like, there was just so much potential for it to be great, and it didn't live up to that. But when it's movies that when you watch it, it's like when you watch it, you're like, there's no way this could be good. Like this, everything about this is horrible, and that's what makes it so great.
But a lot of people are really liking Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
And I've been seeing people say like, oh, this was so great. And now, mind you, I think that
there were good parts.
I think that because the first Suicide Squad was kind of corny and a lot of people didn't like it, and this one was definitely better than the first one, in my opinion. It was better, but there were, I don't know.
Yeah, the first one to me was definitely better.
Even with this one, there were parts where I was just kind of like, you know what I mean? Like, it was good. It wasn't great, though, in my opinion. But so yeah, The Room. Please go check that out, and then watch The Disaster Artist. And if you also want to, I think there's another movie that somebody made. What is it called? I think it's called Kung Pao. It's like this,
I don't know,
karate movie or whatever.
It's bad.
Oh my god! but it's kind of funny. But then like towards the middle of it, it starts to get a little bit like, you know what I mean, boring. It starts to turn into one of those bad movies where you're like, I don't want to watch this thing.
Then it's just.
But then it gets funny again, and you're like, oh, this is cool. Like around the time where he starts fighting the cow, I think it's called Kung Pao, but like it's just a yes, bro. I think let me see, because I gotta look this up just to make sure that this exactly, yes, it's called Kung Pao. And then the Asian lead girl on there like was always like whiny or crying.
Yeah.
So she was like wee, wee, wee. What the heck? And like anyway, that's another one that y'all should check out. Trust me, y'all will not regret these things.